Hello out there at Uncensored Radio Land, and welcome to Assigned Seating, our most passive opening theme that we have here on the Uncensored Radio Network, as it were. Everything else is very like, this is very sympathetic, but a little bit aggressive, but it's nice. So,
aggressive.
Yeah, kind of like this movie that we're going to talk about today. So, you may be used to seeing these lovely faces on our very popular, but who knew, apparently, our very popular show, Uncensored Horror. I have my lovely co-hosts, Luke and Katie, here with us today. And this is the first time the three of us have been here at Assigned Seating, which is nice. It's cool, because we are children of the new millennium. And there was an event. There was an event that happened.
Is that what we're calling
nearly 2 weeks ago. That made me shudder. And I went, oh, okay, we have to talk about it because this movie is a cult classic. I think it redefined teen movies for a while. It definitely got parodied. It became part of the zeitgeist. If you don't know what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, get your tickets ready, pull up your favorite comfy seat, because we are going to discuss 1999's cult classic film, Cruel Intentions. Damn, child. So it is.
So this movie just turned 25.
25 years ago. I was just saying to Katie last night, I was sleeping over at my best friend's place, which we haven't done in a long time, because her kids asked me to come over, so we did that. And she was going to bed because she's a mum, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so tired." I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to watch Cruel Intentions. We're going to do a review. She's like, okay. She turned it on and stayed the whole time before it got 1 o'clock. I went, go to bed. You're turning into a pumpkin. Like, I can see it before my very eyes. But it was quite a nice moment, because we actually saw the movie together. So 25 years later,
25 years later, still on a sleepover.
I know. I definitely saw this one at the cinemas. What about you guys?
Probably at a sleepover, honestly. Let's see. 1999.
You were probably a bit young, Katie.
I was probably about 13 years old. Probably shouldn't have been watching it.
No, it's one of those.
It was probably at a sleepover after mom and dad went to bed. Yep, sounds about right.
Luke, you were my age, so this was our age. These kids were supposed to be our age in this movie.
Yeah, they're a little bit problematic. I think I saw it with one of my best friend's girlfriend at the time. I think her and I went and saw it at the cinema. And it was around, because we used to go and see things, like Bring It On and whatever. We went and saw Cruel Intentions, and it was, a little bit. It was a little bit. Let's just leave it at that for now.
This is the thing. When it came out, nobody knew what to expect, because it's a reimagining of Dangerous Liaisons, or the French version, which I'm not going to murder with my horrible linguistic skills. But this was originally
a shot at that one.
Sorry,
anyone?
Les Lesions Dangereuses.
No,
that's what I said. Dangereuses.
You did great.
Thank you. So this was initially an independent film, and then Columbia saw the dollar signs in this the potential. But let's be honest, and Katie and I were talking about this before we started. I forgot how many people of that era are in this movie. It was it's such brilliant timing for all of those, teen
up-and-comers.
And do you know what is surprising? Many of them are still with us in this, in some form, they're still acting, where that doesn't always happen. So let's very quickly go through the cast very, very quickly. We've got Sarah Michelle Gellar, obviously. Ryan Felipe.
Yeah, so we'll talk more about it. Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right.
But you'll talk. Yeah, I'm just going to go through it, and then we're going to talk about the cast because it's brilliant. Reese Witherspoon, Selma Blair, Joshua Jackson, Sean Patrick Thomas, Christine Baranski, Tara Reid, Eric Mabius, I forgot was in this movie as well. Swoosie Kurtz, Jerry O'Connell. It's like the list goes on and on. Tara Reid, like all of these.
Yes.
And like
You circle back to Tara a couple of times. It's like she was in a good movie.
Well, listen, Tara, you can't have a 90s movie without Tara Reid. Like, you can't. You absolutely, she was the 90s. And I was saying to Steve, like, she just has one of those iconic 90s voices. Like, it's like you think of the 90s and you think of her voice and you think Tara Reid. You think Jennifer Tilly. You think Joey Lauren Adams. Like, those are the voices of the 90s.
I also think of Janine Garofalo.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. That's a voice.
Those are the voices of the 90s. Those are like the iconic voices. You don't forget them. They stick in your head. They are ingrained in your brains.
And I totally forgot that Tara was in this movie until I saw Swoosie Kurtz. It's been at least probably 10 years since I've watched this movie properly.
Yes.
I have it. I own it and everything, but I just haven't. I watched it so much back in the day that I just haven't watched it as a grown adult, you know, as someone who could be parents to these children.
Did it hit different as an adult?
No, I think it's still brilliant. But at the moment I saw Swoosie Kurtz, I went, and I was like, "Oh, Tara Reid's coming." That's right. I forgot. I was like, "Oh, Tara, she's here." It was great.
Well, I just remember making the joke to you guys, like, I don't have this movie memorized, and apparently I didn't because I totally forgot about Tara Reid. Please pardon the cat on my table. Thor has to make his appearance on every single podcast. He does. Everyone say hello to Thor, making his first appearance on
Wild Pussy, but
making his first appearance on this one.
Yes, assigned seating with Thor. He gets his own spin-off.
Yes, he has to.
As we were just saying, this is a reimagining / remake of Dangerous Liaisons, but set in New York City with the up and coming influential teens of New York City's upper elite, which sounds very similar to a TV series that would come out in a couple of years, but that's okay. We'll talk more about that at the end of the show. This movie could have been horrible. I solely put the fact that this movie is a success down to these two. They are
Sarah Michelle and Ryan Philippe.
Brilliant. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Ryan Philippe are so good in this movie. Like, you want to hate these guys so much. But even today, even like we watch it going as an adult with, you know, adult emotions and reasoning, you can still see both sides to each character. I'm like, oh, that's some good writing and some good acting.
As a 13-year-old, I'm watching them like, is that what like older teenagers are really like? Is that how I'm going to be as a teenager? Like, is that how they act? Am I going to be that adult? I was Cecilia all the way. Cecilia, whatever it was. I was her.
Selma, God love her.
I was a mess. I was clumsy. I was just awkward. I'm still awkward. God, I still haven't grown out of that phase.
Yeah, I was going to say, now you've got cats running around behind you.
Still haven't grown out of it. Cecilia.
I would just love to know the casting process behind this movie because it's brilliant. Like, no one is miscast. Like, everyone is perfect. Do you think they auditioned
like any other film, or they probably auditioned a few? But do you think they sort of had an idea of, I want this person? I
think because these people were in, as we're saying, in the zeitgeist at the moment, they were the hot people. Like, you've got to think how much of a smart career move was this for Sarah Michelle Gellar coming 2 seasons into Buffy to play Catherine.
That's where I was going earlier, yeah. And
then to reunite with Ryan Philippe, who, like, they were just together in a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Well, it was,
and her character very much was, because she was Buffy, and I think she didn't want to be typecast as Buffy, which was the all-American girl who just happened to be able to beat the shit out of vampires. And so, and horror is very aligned with, vampires. So even though she did I Know What You Did Last Summer and she was more the scream queen running up the stairs instead of out the door, she thought this was a challenge for her too, to play a horrible bitch and do it well. And she proved her chops.
Yeah.
Well, they almost offered Ryan's role to Jude Law, which
I'm glad they didn't.
Well, he could have pulled it off. He was just too old.
Done it. He was just too. Yeah, he would have been too old next to Sarah Michelle Gellar at that point.
He's got the charm to do it. He's absolutely got the charisma and the charm. He could have definitely done it. He's just too old. And then Katie Holmes was offered Reese.
Oh no, that one would have been a flop. She was been like, Ryan, is there a door I can lean on? Ryan,
I think it would have been interesting.
No,
she's definitely got that good girl vibe.
This is stars align. This is I'm obviously not going to bury my review, but this is stars align. This moment.
I'm very curious what would have happened. Would Reese and Ryan still have?
They were dating at this point, though, weren't they? They were dating when they were filming this movie.
They fell in love on set. They fell in love.
Yeah, they met each other on this set.
That's why the sex scene was a bit. Oh, hello.
See, Sarah had the hots for Freddie because Freddie Prinze, because they just met on I Know What You Did Last Summer, and they're still happily married. So, see, Hollywood can have a happy ending if you're stable.
Well, here's the thing: Ryan couldn't keep it in his pants, so there's the thing.
I
know, but he was.
He's unstable.
Still to this day, a very good-looking man. Like,
oh yes, he is.
But he's a baby in this movie. Look at him, look at his baby face.
They're all babies. Every single actor in this movie is a baby.
They're so good. Like, I just can't get over how good they are at pushing each other's buttons, and the reactions are a big thing. I watch more of the reactions between each other this time. They play really well together. I'd be really interested in those two getting back together on screen for something else now that they've had a whole life experience. Those two doing a movie together would be really cool, I think, for something.
Like a 40 Days and Nights or something like Anne Heche and Harrison Ford kind of.
Oh, they're not that old.
That was 6 Days, 7 Nights, or that was...
Whatever it was. Oh, yeah, 40 Days, 40 Nights is maybe a vampire movie.
No, that's 30 Days of Nights. I don't know where you're going.
I don't know who I am.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I think
Katie, I'm an exhausted single parent. You know how it feels for you as a mother?
He's having a millennial
it's like
stroke.
That magnitude, everything. I've got to do all the daddy and the mummy.
You're getting your Josh, what's his name?
There you go. You've got it too.
Well, I'm just...
Senior.
He was in The Faculty. What's his name?
Oh, Josh Hartnett.
Thank you. You're getting your Josh
I remember him.
mixed up.
Yeah, I don't know who I am anymore.
Maybe we should watch. We haven't done The Faculty yet, have we?
Okay, yeah, put that down.
Anyway, we're squirreling away.
That's neither here nor there. Okay, so back onto this movie.
Yeah, let's get into the twisted plot as well. Yeah, go soundtrack.
Let's go soundtrack real quick, because the soundtrack is also iconic and perfect. I mean, who didn't want to fall in love to The Counting Crows? Who didn't want to fall in love to that song? Like, I saw them this summer, and like that song still hits. That song still hits real hard.
Can you sing a little bit for us, Katie, for the listeners who might know what the song is?
Absolutely not. No,
I definitely had. I'm going to incriminate myself. I'm going to incriminate myself. This was definitely one of my first burnt CDs. Like when
you were bagging out Bittersweet Sweet Symphony on your burnt CD.
When somebody printed the cover as well.
Oh, did you guys have that? One of those.
Printed the cover.
I did go to that trouble. I did. I was quite the pirater. But we did it all. It was the 90s. Everybody's doing it. Just nobody's talking about it.
And I was so edgy because I knew who Placebo was because I had the Cruel Intentions soundtrack.
Oh,
Excuse me.
look at you go, Cecile.
It was, it was very. It dictated a lot of what was to come. So let's jump into it. The plot is very complicated, but we start with
you may have
Sebastian.
to watch the movie to understand it, listeners.
Sebastian has seduced his therapist's daughter because that's just what he does. Obviously,
she was overcharged.
So, are we able to diagnose these people ourselves? So, Sebastian's definitely a narcissist, right? Or probably more borderline.
They both are.
Sarah Michelle's character's definitely a narcissist. I don't know. I kind of got the feeling Sebastian maybe just like borderline, just with some really antisocial traits. But I don't know. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
I think they're both as bad as each other.
Psychiatrist with degree.
So, we meet Sebastian and Catherine, who are not. Let's remind people, not biologically related siblings. They are step siblings who enjoy playing with the elites of New York City to their own devices. So Catherine has recently been broken up with, which kind of spurs everything. Sebastian has been a little bit obsessed with Catherine, to say the least, because she's the only woman he can't have.
It definitely played on the whole incest but not incest thing. But
of course it
Listen,
does.
there is a whole subgenre of porn of this, okay? The
stepsister thing is stepbrother, it's there.
It's there. It's there.
And this film managed to do it with a little bit of class.
Yes.
Sure.
So Catherine tries to enlist her brother in, well, not try, she does. She well and truly plays him like a fiddle to seduce the ever naive Cecile, Selma Blair. But Sebastian has plans of his own. Yes. Sebastian has plans of his own when he discovers the Virgin Manifesto of Annette Hargrove, whose father is going to be the new principal of their school. And his ideal mission is to deflower her before school starts so his reputation can continue to soar. So at this point, they devise a little bet.
They do. And if Catherine wins and he fails to seduce the lovely Annette, she gets his car. And if he wins, he gets Catherine, basically, to put it nicely, put it PG. So this is kind of where we're at. Now, Annette is Chastity Till Marriage, 17 magazine. Like she's just Reese Witherspoon.
She's purity personified that is going to enter this den of iniquity. And it's just like, oh God, from the beginning that this is going to get real messy real quick. But just the way that these two play off each other, but also play with the rest of the cast is just so, like, I know that they are essentially the villains of the piece, but I'm just like, this is so good. Like, it's the reason why people watch shows like Melrose Place.
They're anti-heroes.
Yeah,
they're kind
exactly.
They're bad, but they're so bad that it's good to watch. Like.
So, because Cecile is the new object of Catherine's ex-boyfriend's heart, she decides that she'll destroy her reputation and takes it very much into her own hands to do so. So Catherine finds out that, Cecile is not even in love, I think obsessed with her. It's cello, right? Cello teacher? It's a cello.
He's a cello teacher, yep.
Yeah, he's a cello. Sean Patrick Thomas, like Selma Blair, she is chef's kid. Like, if you looked naive in the dictionary, like she does wonders. Just the way that she speaks and her body language and just her reactions to stuff. You're just like, you knew who this character was, girl. I just love the headstand she does in the skirt on the video.
Yeah, but look,
like,
we've all been to school with a Cecile. Like we all know our own Cecile, so we've got one on the show. But you know,
moron.
I actually don't think you're as naive as Cecile can.
I'm not as naive as Cecile. I'm just as awkward as Cecile.
She's a socially awkward.
She's a headstander.
I'm not a headstander. I'm awkward as hell. But man,
I want to know if she did that headstand actually.
Yeah, no.
If it was Selba.
Yeah,
it was probably her. I could see her doing that.
She's very talented. If she like that's like they're hard to do, and that was balance, you know.
I'm trying to find anything.
Are you trying to see if they had a stunt double?
She's good. Do you have a stunt double for Selma Blair? So amongst all this drama, as Sebastian begins to try to seduce Annette, who is conveniently staying with his auntie, like it's just a matter of sheer convenience. He finds out that someone is bad-mouthing him to Annette. Now, we assume that it is her former boyfriend/friend that is the star football player, Greg. But
is this Joshua Jackson?
Greg has a secret.
Joshua's the gay guy.
Blaine, yes. When Sebastian goes to see his friend Blaine, brilliantly played by Joshua Jackson here. Post-Urban Legends.
Sorry, I was crossing the wires there.
Post-Urban Legends with his blonde hair. It's like, we like it. It's cool. We find out that Greg likes to tackle tight ends on and off the field. So it's just this interlaced web of sex lies and no videotape, really.
God, you just know this is just would never pass now. Just all the really.
Yeah, just Greg's a fag.
Yep. I'd say I can't say it. You guys can.
Greg's a fag. I just like she just says that they say the most horrible things.
Just the free flowing use of that word is just.
But you know those kind of conversations still happen.
They absolutely still happen. They're just not. They're just
nobody talks about it.
They're just not acceptable now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Blaine is obviously another means to it. He just also happens to be a drug dealer, so work, Joshua Jackson. So Blaine's going to set up a bit of a sting operation on Greg to see if he has the information that is needed. I love that at the end of the day, it turns out he didn't, and Blaine knew all along. He's like, I don't know what happened. I was like, if anything, if there was one thing that I would like, it would be more of that character in this movie. He was. He had his own like thing going 90s.
On. He was so great in all of his movies in the 90s.
He's actually
still great now. Joshua did Dr. Death not long ago.
Yeah. He's just underrated.
Yeah. I think when you come from, and I think this was the point of this movie. A lot of these people come from those CW, like, etc. shows where they're like trying to branch out and go, I am not Pacey. I'm not Buffy, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not, like, and it was.
They're definitely going against their type, what they've been cast as, to try and, broaden their audience, really, to show and to show that they're versatile. I can play a horrible narcissistic bitch, but I can also play the wholesome Californian girl. And same with Pacey was the all-American boy that everyone loved on Dawson's Creek, and now he's playing a homosexual, which was risky too for Joshua at the time, because no one wanted to be a gay person, not even a fictitious one. So he took a risk.
But speaking for the gays, well, Katie's just away for a second. And this is one of the first times I can remember in a teen movie of our generation that, you know, there was a gay character that was in some kind of power structure that had some kind of leverage in a situation that wasn't just like he's a side character, but he moves the plot along quite significantly and is directly affecting what's going on. As I said,
and just as awful as the other antagonists as well.
Oh yeah,
really.
and has his own agenda, which I think would have been interesting to put into it as well, because I think in high school, like there's always that kind of dynamic. You have the popular people, you have the mean girl, and usually the mean gay is her best friend. I would have liked to have seen Catherine and Blaine together to see how that were they friends,
well,
were they enemies? Like that would have been good to see.
It could still happen in our lifetime. We never know.
Yes, well, we have that to talk about at the end of the end of the review as well. So they are definitely busy little beavers. There's seduction going on left, right, and center. And it's an interesting portrayal of teenage sexuality. And it's interesting to see that they were not just straight down the line that everyone in this movie is going to be unquestionably heterosexual and that that's the way to go and that that's the representation that we're going to go with because, you know, it's a major motion picture. Because, again, these people were on primetime TV across all of America. Ryan Felipe had famously played a gay character on his soapy run, and that was like his big break into the industry. But Reese Witherspoon, up until this point, I think the only thing that she'd done that was really edgy would have been Freeway, but and that was pretty out there.
That was pretty
out there. That was pretty edgy. Oh my god, that just came to my mind out of nowhere. I loved Freeway. How good were those movies?
That's another one to write down too.
Both of them were actually quite good, and I just remember
you're right, and even sorry, I'll get us back onto even for Sarah Michelle and Selma Blair to do the lesbian kiss. That kiss is pretty iconic now. It's been parodied in a lot of films, Not Another Teen Movie. It was something that could make or break them, really. Because if you run the risk of blemishing your image when you're in that little wholesome Warner Brothers network and what they were all doing at the time, it could have potentially been a fatal blow. It was, as you were saying, though, it was the stars aligned. Everything went right in this movie.
Let's talk about the kiss a bit more. I was like, it's an iconic moment and parodied, and it just seemed to be at this time in this edge of the millennium kind of moment, everyone was just pushing things this little bit further, this little bit further, this little bit further for these, good kids to act like this on screen is brave. And it was also really, I'm sure, liberating for a lot. Even watching it last night, I was like, this isn't for me, but it's hot. It's hot. That's definitely.
Well, we see a lot of
a
girl kissing a girl now is sort of not really controversial anymore. But at the time of this film, it was still. It was probably more. It still was more palatable to the general American and worldwide audience than a male kissing. But it still was something that good girls don't do that. That's
and
nice.
we look. There was something out there for the fellas as well. I forgot about Ryan's butt.
Yeah,
I forgot about Ryan's butt.
Show that. We can't show that one. Sorry,
we
people.
Can't show that. But I was like, there it is. There was a reason why I watched this movie.
Now, did Ryan was this after or before he did 54?
I think it would be around the same time, 54.
Around the same time, because 54 was a very sexualized film.
Ryan seems to be the one that will push the envelope straight away. No, year before. So 54 was before this.
There you go. So yeah, he was already
He was the bad
happy
boy.
to take the risks as well. He was taking risks.
Yeah, he was the bad boy, and he got to, he got everyone else to play his game, and it was interesting that everyone kind of rose to the occasion. Katie, we were talking about the kiss.
Selma and Sarah Michelle Gellar.
That was a good kiss.
All right, tell us
Cecile
about
and
your
Catherine.
feelings about the kiss.
That was kind of a moment for me.
Good girl.
That was kind of a moment where I kind of knew, like, I think I'm kind of into, like, I think I'm kind of into everyone at this point.
It's all stations open for McCarthy. She's about that life. She's
Yeah,
like, yes.
Eddie, was it a bit controversial, like, for you to see it though?
Well,
like
she would have
back
been
in
13.
those days,
That would have been.
yeah, like back in those days, like we know like how the atmosphere would have been. Like now you have like girls kissing, no one cares in the movie.
Yes,
It's like,
it absolutely was. It was. And I'm pretty sure like some of my friends were like, ew. And I'm kind of like, that's awesome. And I'm thinking to myself secretly, that is awesome.
Yes,
That is
what
so
that
awesome.
bit.
Well, we were just talking about 54, and 54 that was released the year before did have an all-male, a male like kissing scene. Ryan, Felipe, and Breck and Maya actually kissed in that movie, and it was taken out.
It was.
So we weren't ready for that.
Oh.
There you go. Is that a deleted scene that exists somewhere? I'm sure
I
it
don't
does.
remember
It
if I've
is.
seen 54.
Oh, you would love 54.
That's
might
another
have-
one on our list, babes. We're doing Freeway and 54.
This is a very importantly. This
Well-
movie is post Wild Things.
Did see
Wild Things
yes.
Wild Things was 1998.
Wild Things was also a big moment.
So this
for
was
me.
the era of let's push the envelope on
Yeah.
our conservative society.
And again, Nev Campbell, everyone's sweetheart from
Mm.
Party of Five.
Nev
and-
Campbell will always be a girl crush for me.
Talk
Not even-
about in that movie.
Not even a girl crush, just a crush.
So it was
She
kind
didn't
of a
have to be a
theme,
girl
though, that a lot of these actors and actresses were playing against type around this time.
I
to
think
really-
in general, I think we've got to remember in general that we were as a society trying to break away. Where this is post the 80s.
Well, did we discuss
the
that,
AIDS epidemic had happened, and we were in this kind of new sexual freedom-ish kind of thing where, yes, bisexuality was happening. It's okay to see gay characters on screen.
Mhm.
Fetishism of girl-on-girl action, all that kind of stuff. All of it was coming to the bubble as the millennium turned. Like this is when it was happening.
Well, you got to remember, like the big thing in the 90s. Let's see, Friends had 2 moms. That was huge.
Yeah,
That was
Will and
that was-
Grace was happening. Like it was this new age of people wanting to see themselves reflected back in TV. We weren't in the 80s. We definitely weren't in the 70s and 60s anymore. So the characters that are on screen that are meant to represent the audience have to
Mhm.
change.
Mhm.
And by this point, people were brave enough to, step forward and go, I like this, let's put this on screen, no matter what the reaction. And I think this movie has a lot of that in it. Like, it's a big push because of that.
Mhm.
But
So-
what we didn't expect is for poor Sebastian to actually fall in love.
No, we didn't.
I think it's
Well, that's
the
why
order.
I don't think he's a narcissist, because I think he's borderline, because they tend to not be able to really love anyone, and I think Sebastian really did start to care about Miss Witherspoon's character, Annette.
Of course we did.
It starts out as like, treat him and keep him keen. He wants her because she doesn't want him. But
Yeah.
it turns, I don't know. That's the one thing that I kind of didn't see. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like sometimes in a movie, there's points where you go, they're in love. It kind of just happened, which is, more representative of real life too, I guess. Sometimes there's not always, the sparks and sparks fly, bloody.
Oh, you could
lightning
totally
bolt
tell they
moment.
were. I think the moment I knew they were both all in was probably. Oh, it was probably the moment after they had both volunteered at the nursing home, and she was making
Yeah.
faces at him.
We played backgammon 3 times. Then I fucked your daughter. I laughed my ass off. We played backgammon 3 times. That was fun. I'm like, that was great. I'm like, please take advantage of the elderly even more. Like,
just when they're driving back and she's just making faces to make him laugh, and just like they slowly just go to hold hands, like, oh, they're all in, they're both all in, and you can see it right there, just like, sucker.
Oh,
He's in.
did your little teenage heart flutter then, Katie? Like,
I want love like that.
I don't know if it was just me. I wasn't looking for the love. I wanted to see what Catherine was up to. I was like, less of the love story. I want more bitch. More bitch. More bitch. 24/7.
You are a
back
bitch.
to the narcissist. Cut back to the narcissist.
I was probably a little bit of it. There was a time in my teenage years where I was a little bit of a Catherine, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Make the puppets dance.
What?
Make the puppets dance. I was never that like. Oh. I wasn't like getting my hump on like that though. I wish. God. As a teenager, my God, I wish. No, that didn't happen until.
That seems like it
didn't happen until university, baby.
Oh,
that's university times.
Seems like a lot of work.
But you've got just remember what it was like to be a teenager and that whole like.
Just
I want to, but I don't know what that is. It's like, oh yeah, I like this person.
At one point in our lives, in all of our lives, we tried that hard to get laid.
Right? I know.
It's exhausting.
Do you think some of the appeal though of some of these characters is like everyone wants to do some of the Catherine things, and everyone wants to do some of the Sebastian things, even if you're not like that.
That's the whole thing.
I mean,
everyone wants to be them or fuck them.
I want the bustier and the.
She looked stunning in this movie.
Yes, she did.
She needs
to. It was her natural hair color, wasn't it?
I think she needs to go dark.
Nope.
She dyed it.
She dyed it.
Yeah, but she's a brunette naturally, Sarah.
Oh, okay.
But this is dark. This is dark.
She likes.
I think she looks.
It's good.
And the fashion was very.
Yeah, no teenager dresses like that. Let's just throw that out there.
Yeah, it wasn't of its time. It was kind of weirdly out of time as well. It wasn't like Catherine was dressed like an old school movie star for some of it. Like I remember that nightgown with like the flowing sleeves and the corseted part. It's just like she looks like she could be in a 1930s movie. It's like
very inspired by the original. I think some of the costume choices possibly.
Well, yeah, French 1792. That's the way it is. So
yeah,
this whole thing just gets very calamitous very, very quickly as Catherine loses control, and that's the one thing that a narcissist can't handle.
Can't stand.
So she doubles down her efforts by seducing Cecile's music teacher herself. It's just a whole big thing, planting seeds every which way when she realizes that she can't get what she wants once.
I mean, I don't blame her there. That man's beautiful too.
Yeah, well, there's a very famous line in the movie that we'll talk about at the end. But this is where I think, again, I get that we have to focus on the love story, but I wanted more chaos. Yeah. I wanted a little bit more chaos. I wanted to see the seeds that Catherine sowed like bear fruit a bit more. Obviously, the seduction of Cecile is hilarious. I don't want to kiss you there. I want to kiss you. Wow! It just falls out of frame.
She really was a sadistic
you want
bitch.
Some company?
She really was.
secret society. It's like, you're a fucking moron. I agree with her. Fucking moron. It's like, what is this girl? She's burning bridges left, right, and center. And Catherine's a very scorched earth, obviously. If she doesn't get what she wants, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
It goes
so
into
much
total annihilation mode.
Sebastian was going to tell Annette the truth, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how much in love
He loved her.
him. But to save her, he lies to her. Because, you know, I think that he thought he was going to save her the wrath of Catherine by getting rid of her, getting her out of the situation, despite his best intentions. They weren't cruel like Catherine's. Get what I did there? Get what I did there?
Oh, look at you.
But, you know, by playing against her hand, he directly plays into her hand. She manages to take control of the situation. Like, she just twists things so easily. And maybe that was the plan all along. Do you know what I mean? Was she ever really interested in Sebastian, or was he just another toy? Because they spar well together. But at the end of the day, and that's one of those scenes where you're like, oh, they're acting. Like, Ryan's reaction to Catherine, to Sarah's like line reading is like, you see his poor little heart breaking. These guys can cry, unlike Tara Reid. This is the one thing I didn't mention. Watching this movie in HD is a little bit less forgiving when Tara Reid's tear doesn't move.
I guess I didn't notice that.
It's a stick on. It's a stick on. You're like, oh, Tara, you can't even force out a tear, doll. It's all right.
I guess I didn't notice that.
I did. I was like, oh, that's all I could focus on while she was on screen for the very short time, you know.
Whoops.
So, Sebastian basically says everything he did for Annette was a lie. She flees, and Catherine takes him down mercilessly and informs him that she doesn't fuck losers. I was like, oh, imagine being able to say a line like that. You would just go, burn the house down as you walk away. That's one of those lines. You're like, fuck everyone. I'm sorry. I don't fuck losers.
Do you reckon Sarah Michelle sort of had a little bit of fun doing this bitch?
This is very much her. I think they're so good because they've both been on soapy. Like, this is very soap opera-ish kind of storyline. Yep. They've both done soap operas. This is like elevated soap. But she's so good at being like, she needs to be the villain in more pieces, I think. That's like, leave Buffy behind, literally. Be the bad girl, baby.
She has.
Be the bad girl. But like, more recently now, I think, like, not in her personal life, I mean professionally, she needs to be the bad girl, you know?
Yeah.
So Sebastian does the only thing he can to redeem himself and sacrifices his beloved journal, which has been, you know, the focus of much of the movie, him writing down, you know, his experiences and Catherine wanting to know all about it because, you know, that's the one part of him that she can't get to. And it details the whole debaucherous things, drug abuse, manipulation, all that kind of thing. But amongst this, Catherine is still working away. She's like, even when she thinks she's lost, she makes sure that she's going to win. Catherine calls Ronald and insinuates that Sebastian has physically assaulted her and tells him that, you know, he has seduced Cecile first and taken her maidenhood, etc., etc. So a very outraged Ronald, the cello teacher, manages to confront Sebastian on the street, followed by Annette, who has, you know, finally read the manifesto and forgiven him. I remember this being quite shocking when it happened in the movie because I didn't expect this to be the ending. I thought, yeah, maybe they'll get their happily ever after. But no.
Sebastian
Annette
getting splattered by the car.
Well, yeah, Annette gets thrown into the street, and then to protect her from an oncoming cab, Sebastian pushes her out of the way and gets mowed down by
See, he wasn't
New
a
York taxi
narcissist.
cab.
He wasn't, because he wouldn't have cared if she just got
And
run down.
dies.
Oh well.
And dies. That was a big. I was like, what? Like, especially for teen-based movies, your leads don't die. Like, you don't kill your lead off at the end.
Especially
of the
not
movie.
the one who just redeemed himself. He just saw his redemption and boom.
Yeah.
That's what you get for trying to do the right thing, kids.
Before he passes away.
The message we're sending here.
Yeah. Before he passes away, Sebastian and Annette are able to confess their love for each other, which I think, for the romantics, that's a Jack and Rose moment for them,
Oh,
did
you cry at this bit, Katie?
No,
did you cry as a 13-year-old?
That's different because no, we don't have time for me to go into this. But Rose is a bitch. She could have moved her fat ass over and gave him room on that. There's space. There's space. Okay, if we pull up.
Katie, focus. Back on the train tracks.
Yeah.
I can't find it.
Did you cry?
Yes, I sobbed. I sobbed like a little bit.
Oh, you cried.
Oh.
That's nice.
Okay, I sobbed.
Okay.
Still.
Okay,
But,
we crossed.
This is so different from Jack and Rose.
Okay, all right. We won't.
Yeah, you've
You
triggered Trigger warning.
Trigger warning. So, we cross-cut to Sebastian's funeral service at
I'm not the only one who thinks that.
At school, where the new principal is.
Sorry.
The new principal is delivering a eulogy, and we find the lovely Catherine getting ready to do her speech as student body president after doing her little
yeah, because we all
bit of a cross.
We all
Did she?
get
So
ready
she
for
kept
eulogy,
the coke in the cross.
Yeah, she always kept
that
the
was her
coke in
little
the cross,
secret.
and that was all written in the diary, etc., etc. Now, this was delicious.
Yeah, she thought so too.
Annette emerging from the bathroom. Annette, we missed out. I was like, them pretending not to know each other, even though they both know each other.
Yep.
Was like, that's some Melrose Place shit right there. That's like
do you think
my bread and butter.
Do you think do you think Catherine actually knew who it was?
Oh, Catherine! Yes. Catherine knows who
Catherine knew everything. She controlled everything.
Yeah, she has no idea what's about to happen, which makes it even better because you're like, someone gets the one up in the end. But that moment of, yes, I'm so sorry about that. Oh yeah, love it. Like knowing what they've done to each other and knowing what's about to happen, and just. Catherine does.
Catherine thought she was the best at what she does.
She thought she had it, yeah. But games can get played both ways because while she's delivering her speech, the student body begins to disappear rapidly, and then she blows up and follows them out, only to find that Sebastian's diary has been printed en masse and handed out to the student body, revealing all of her secrets, all of his secrets, sex, drugs, rock and roll, and Catherine is discovered as the cross from her rosary is opened up and the cocaine blows away. And our final scene, Annette drives away in Sebastian's car.
That was sort of the confirmation it was all true, that the drugs are in there. Everyone knew them. Yep, this is not
with
made
the journal, with the journal by his side, wearing his sunglasses. The end.
I was just going to say, how did anyone get the code to make that many copies? But then you remember that she's the headmaster's daughter.
Yeah. Well, she can do anything. She probably went to remember back in the day there was photocopying places?
You know how much that would cost?
We never know.
She was rich.
They're all rich. This is not a Yeah,
They
this
can
is not a
afford
thing,
photocopies.
It's expensive, man.
So let's look at our success-o-meter, shall we? Let's look at our box office. So this movie only took $10.5 million to make for a movie that is, set in New York with the Richie Riches. Pretty modest, right?
Mhm.
And a fairly high-paid cast.
Yeah. Ended up grossing $75.9 million at the box office. So,
Yep.
pretty
Done all
good.
right.
Pretty good. So much so that, there was, we'll roughly talk about them, direct-to-video sequels. Oh. Now,
No.
the Cruel Intentions 2, as it were, is actually the first 3 episodes of a prequel TV series that was going to air on Fox called Manchester Prep. Now, I remember the discussion like this all happening and like there's going to be a TV series, right, it's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Do you know who starred in that second movie / TV show?
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
No.
No, not in the original cast.
Oh, I thought she was. Or was it Selma Blair?
Amy Adams stars in Cruel
really?
Intentions 2. Yes. Yes.
There you go.
Amy Adams play so this is younger versions of Sebastian and Catherine that was originally meant to be. So
okay, but
that served as a prequel.
But wasn't there going to be
we're getting there.
There we go.
Then in 2004 we had Cruel Intentions 3, which starred Kerr Smith from Dawson's Creek. And a cousin of Catherine to kind of keep the tenuous. It was a direct-to-video time. It was the early 2000s. That's what we did. Remember, everyone got a direct-to-video. Now the big news back in 2015 was that NBC had commissioned a pilot for Cruel Intentions. It's set 17 years after the original films, and the star of the pilot is Bash Casey, the son of Sebastian Valmont and Annette Hargrove. He discovers his father's journal and returns to the city to basically claim his birthright, only to run into his step-aunt, Catherine, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar.
That's probably what I was thinking.
Now that pilot exists. You can obtain it. That
pilot does exist. I have
so
it.
We can
I
see
have it.
Is it good or is it?
It has potential. Look, on October 31st that year, however, it was passed over. It didn't go ahead. I think it would make more sense now. Maybe for their grown son to bring his teenage children to New York City and run into adult Catherine, so you would have multi-generation. That seems to be the things with the reboots and requels at the moment. We have original cast, we have new cast, and we have interlacing. Let's be really honest. I think the writer of Gossip Girl has a lot to kind of say thanks for this movie, because Gossip Girl was a book before it was a TV show, but the Gossip Girl is essentially this world of the elite New York kids. I think that Manchester Prep, had it been cast and written better, could have been a successful TV show. But that's going to be a question mark. You never know.
It was a hit and a miss.
Tried. Yeah, they tried. But, ladies and gentlemen, as of April 2023, a reboot TV series is coming from Amazon Prime. Now, it'll be interesting to see how it is received. I Know What You Did Last Summer TV series kind of failed.
Shit.
But, with source material that is so loved, I think sometimes you've got to leave it as is, where a requel kind of thing would make more sense if you had Sarah Michelle Gellar playing her part, you know what I mean? And then you could get you could get those key characters. Obviously, you're never going to get Reese Witherspoon to cover, but she has done TV. But you never
She's not
know.
gonna do this.
You never know. Pay her enough money, she might do a set, like a little cameo or something. Because that's what kind of killed the Gossip Girl reboot as well. They kept promising original cast. We got Georgina Sparks, and it was too little, too late. Like, people want these properties that they know to have people that they know in them, not just remake them.
Yep.
The way I look at it,
And they want the story to have ties to what they love.
To have
about
ties
the
to it, because
original
people
story.
love this movie. And look, it even inspired a jukebox musical. I haven't seen the musical, but apparently it's fantastic. The Cruel Intentions musical. It's got all 90s songs in it. So as it were, it's the way to go. But there are more Cruel Intentions lurking in the universe. So who knows what will happen next? But I would like your stars out of 5 for this movie, please, Katie.
Give it a solid 3.5. I mean, it's flawed. It is nowhere near perfect. For a 13-year-old, it was definitely a taboo, and it was fun to watch. It had some great music that almost didn't make the soundtrack because, Bittersweet Symphony almost didn't happen in general just because of the Rolling Stones. But 3.5. I mean, it holds up still. It's still a solid movie, and it's fun to watch.
All right, Luke, what about you?
Okay. Are we doing stars or cocaine-filled crucifixes?
You can do whatever you like. If you want to do a star crucifix, you go.
Okay, I think, look, I'm kind of with Katie, but my reasons are a little, it does have flaws, and I think it's to do with pacing. This movie, while it's great, it does drag in some places. Maybe what your suggestion, Steve, a bit more crazy Catherine stuff happening might have made it roll a little bit better.
I agree.
I found it staggered at parts.
Sorry to interrupt, but I agree. I was going to mention it earlier. The love story is where it slows down.
Yeah,
it kind of kills the momentum.
It's just unrealistic for a bunch of teens to act this adult. It really is. But it's fun. It's still fun. No, it is. It is. It really is. It is.
All right, finish your thoughts. Sorry, Luke.
Okay, sorry. So I will probably give it 3.75 crucifixes with cocaine in them. So just a little touch more than Katie, but I get that. I get your criticisms as well, Katie. Yeah, it's flawed and I think it has suffered pacing issues, but it's still really solid film. Beautiful performances, great writing.
Yeah, look, I did bury the lead. I love this movie. I think it's great. I think it was fantastic and heralded a new era of teen movies, especially ones that need to be parodied. I'm giving it a 4. I really like this movie. As I said, the problem I have is with the love story. It needed to be paced a little bit quicker. And maybe just a few more scenes of the machinations of what's going on behind the scenes, because the love story stops the rest of the story. And then it feels like we have to rush through.
Well, it just felt like the camera sat on it too long. And it was trying to say, oh, look, they really are falling in love, but...
And as I said,
I don't know.
I would have liked to have seen Blaine a bit more. That's my I would love to have seen Blaine interact with Catherine and Sebastian, because I feel like that's a power trio. That he was going to be one of the main characters in Manchester Prep as well. So we were going to see how that happened, and that's fun. Look, it's fun to be the bad kid. That's why we've all watched this movie. Everyone's like, I want to. There have always been moments in your life where you're like, I wish I was that fucking cool.
Oh, absolutely.
And burn the place down.
Oh, absolutely. And you want to be the bad kid, and you want to be cool like Catherine and like Blaine. But then some of these things are just like, no teenager is acting like that. These are they're acting like college kids, and it takes you out of it a little bit. This is for
if you enjoyed Cruel Intentions, I would highly recommend the original run of Gossip Girl. I would highly recommend Melrose Place. The kind of over the top drama and shenanigans and bitchery, you're not going to get better elsewhere. It's just like, oh, delicious. It's like, But until then, we will keep, watching our favourite films. Thank you for joining us in the theatre for the first time together, the lovely Katie McCarthy and Luke. We will be back at you again on the horror side, but it's nice to have a break when no one gets horribly murdered. This was an accidental death. So sometimes, we are light and bright too. If you have a favourite movie, whether it be a cult classic or a box office blockbuster you would like us to reveal, please drop it in the comments. Otherwise, we will see you in the theatre again sometime soon. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
I think we owe the people one. All together. Ready, Luke? You ready for it?
Okay, sure. What are we doing?
Everybody does it. It's just nobody.
Nobody talks about it.